Hello, and welcome back to the Hot Action Podcast, your source for NFL and sports gambling related discussion and predictions. This week, I'm going to start with a listener question delivered via the YouTube comments. And if any of you would like to ask a question, I will answer these on the podcast if they are relevant to sports gambling or gambling of any sort. So we have a question from user Deez Moobs. Deez says, long-time listener, first-time caller, Matt. Love the Sevis and Long individual game framework. However, as a novice gambler, I often find myself falling short on parlay bets. What's a good strategy for success on weekly parlays? Well, Deez, if I had a great strategy for parlays, I would let you know. But I'm going to tell you right now that I don't. But I want to go through my thought process really quickly here on why parlays aren't the best thing to do. So, parlays work. They're a bunch of individual independent variables, essentially. So each game or each leg of the parlay is an independent variable, and if any of them fail, the whole bet fails. So what you'd like to do is you multiply the odds of any given variable together, and you get the odds of the parlay hitting. Now, the books know this, of course, and what the books do is they discount the value of each individual variable. Now, this is kind of technical jib-jab for saying every time you add a leg to the parlay, the payout gets higher, but the expected value of the payout doesn't go up in lockstep with how difficult these things are to hit. AKA, the expected value is kind of going down as you add more and more legs to the parlay. Therefore, parlays tend to be square bets. They tend to be sucker bets. They tend to be loser bets. That being said, parlays are fun. If you want to have a good time gambling, throw together a parlay. You know, put a few winners in there, a few touchdowns to score, first, last, you know, maybe throw a Spencer Rattler interception in there, what have you. It's a lot of fun, and I've been known to construct a parlay here and there. But the reason I don't talk about them much on this channel is I don't believe that the average bettor has any sort of chance of creating an edge against the casino or the book constructing parlays. Therefore, I tend to avoid talking about them too much. But if you must make parlays, I tend to think about them like the way I think about animals. 2 legs good, 4 legs acceptable, 16 legs, get that shit out of here, man. I don't want to see any 16-leg animal in my house. The more legs, the more concerning, the more places for these things to fall apart. So yeah, you know, you might be able to get 4 bets in a row. It's like if you're flipping coins, 4 heads in a row, it's unlikely, but that'll happen sometimes. But like 16, at that point, you're better off buying lottery tickets, which I also don't suggest. The math doesn't bear this out as a good thing to do with your money. Even, you know, normal sports gambling is not great. So, with that all out of the way, we are going to move on to our predictions. I would like to say thanks to Mr. Moobs. Thank you, Deez, for the question. I appreciate all the interactions I get. Moving on. What happened last week in the world of the NFL and our gambling mission to bet all the games against the spread? Last week was pretty good. We did pretty good last week. We finished +5 on the week, so there's a lot of green on the screen today. Let's go over what happened. So first we bet with the rule on Thursday night. We took the Giants +7.5, and they would win 17-34. Cam Scattaboo and Jackson Dart showed out. They do not care about physical injury. They are playing with reckless abandon, and they are winning the hearts and minds of every Giants fan. Then move on to Sunday. We had Denver and the Jets playing in London. I took the Jets plus 7.5, and this game was diabolical. It was terrible. Anyone who watched that game with me, it was a suffering. It was pure suffering. The Jets couldn't do anything on offense, neither could Denver. This was a punt fest, but I'm glad we took a lot of points here. Denver did not deserve to be favored by that many. It worked out if you took plus 7.5. Then we took Indianapolis over Arizona. Indianapolis minus 6.5. And for some reason, Arizona decided it was time to fight like hell for a victory. They ended up losing by 4, but that was not enough for Indy to cover. But they battled it out until the final quarter. So, props to Arizona for that. They still lose. They're 2-4. I said they were fraudulent 2-3. 2-4 is more like it. That's about the record you would expect. Indy looks pretty good. I'm beginning to think Indy might not have played very many good teams to get to 5-1. I want to put them on not quite elite watch. I've been calling them elite. We'll see how that goes going forward. All right. Then we got the Rams at Baltimore. We took the Rams minus 7.5 because Baltimore is in a tailspin. The tailspin continues. Baltimore scores 1 field goal, and the Rams cover pretty easily. 17-3. That's all there is to that. Then we have Cleveland at Pittsburgh. We took Pittsburgh minus 5.5. They win 23-9. Cover. We took Seattle plus 1.5 at Jacksonville. They win 20-12. Never really felt super in danger. Got a little hairy at the end, but realistically, Seattle felt like they dominated that game. And I cover. Then we took Miami plus 4.5 over the Chargers. Miami come out to a decent lead, and then the Chargers battle back, win by 2. Miami covers with the 4.5 point spread. That's another win for your boy. So far in the week, we were 6-1. It's a good morning and Thursday. That's where things start to go a little less awesome. We took Dallas minus 3.5. They would lose outright to Carolina, who move up to 3-3. Carolina might not be as bad as I think they are. We'll see. We might have to defraud them. We'll see what happens. Then we took New Orleans plus 3.5, and New England would smoke them. New England win 25-19. I don't think the scoreline is actually reflective of how much better New England were playing. At least in the first half. New England put up 3 touchdowns in the first half. So, who's to say? Then we got Tennessee at Vegas. We took Vegas minus 4.5. I said if Pete Carroll doesn't win this game, his job might be in trouble. Well, he did win. It was 10-20. And Brian Callahan, the coach of the Titans, got fired. I don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the season. They're going to go play Mike Vrabel and the Patriots this week, so maybe they just didn't want to see their ex on the other sideline and be embarrassed at how bad Callahan was. Because Vrabel, didn't have much to work with when he was in Tennessee, but he would still coach them towards, competence. And now it looks like the Patriots are back on track of being one of the better teams in the AFC. Really embarrassing for Tennessee. And one thing that I am always reminded of is that the NFL is a coaching league. This is a league where head coaches battle it out against each other with chess pieces known as the players. And yeah, that is my opinion on the matter. Okay, we got San Francisco and Tampa Bay. We took Tampa Bay minus 2.5. And I think this is the game where the wheels fell off for San Francisco. I've been predicting a year from hell for them since the preseason, and it keeps happening. They keep having major injuries. They're down to nobody left, and I don't know who's even coming back. Kittle is coming back, and of course Brock Purdy will be coming back eventually. But this is terrible. They fall to 4-2. Lose this game 19-30. Fred Warner's out for the year. Bosa's out for the year. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Tampa Bay looks really good. I'm very happy with my prediction that they will make to the NFC Championship game. And yeah, that's all there is to say about that. And then we took Cincinnati plus 14.5 over Green Bay. Green Bay wins, but only by 9. 14.5 covers. Works out. And then we have Sunday Night Football. This one was a kind of a heartbreaker for me. We took Detroit plus 2.5. And Kansas City, I thought, played all right, but it really felt like Kansas City was like getting away with everything in terms of, cheating. They got called 0 penalties. And that's not the game I was watching. I felt like I kept seeing stuff that they could have been called on. But, it appears that the NFL wants these guys in the playoffs, and they weren't going to let them fall to 2-4. So, of course, Detroit would be their victim. I thought getting the points was good, but turned out to not be close. And we knew when the Detroit got the touchdown called back, the fix was in. So, sometimes things don't go your way. Sometimes the games are rigged. There's nothing you can do about that. I see people complaining on online gambling forums about the games being rigged against them. That's, dust yourself off and figure it out. Sometimes they're rigged. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Adults know that you just have to do bankroll management, and some games aren't going to go your way. Sometimes you'll lose legitimately. Sometimes the games are rigged, and the casinos need to make sure they make their money. The NFL needs to make sure their script is working. There's plenty of reasons for the games to be rigged, but, you can't take it too personally. All right. Then on Monday night, we had Buffalo and Atlanta. Atlanta would upset Buffalo 24-14. That was a bad bet for your boy. I took Buffalo minus 3.5. Didn't work. Then Chicago at Washington. I said, these teams are pretty close. I'll just take the points. And the game would finish with a 1-point differential. So the points were good. Chicago plus 4.5. That's a win. 10-5 on the week. Proud of myself. All right, moving on to week 7. We are starting with a primetime divisional matchup. You know what that means. We're taking the dog. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. We are taking Cincinnati plus 5.5. Home dogs, they've got the Flack magic. And the rule states that we must take the points in a primetime divisional game. I'm glad I don't have to think about that one, because I would probably pick Pittsburgh if I was allowed to, but it got burned. We're just going with the rule. It's gonna keep working. The rule is good. All right. Then we got LA Rams at Jacksonville, technically at London. The Rams are giving up 2.5 points on the road. I'm gonna be taking the Rams. Jacksonville did not impress me. They seem like a weird 4-2 record. Seems a bit strange to me. But, Jacksonville is playing like a home game at London. I don't know. Anything's possible, but I'll be taking the Rams. Puka Nacua being out is concerning to me. But I think the Rams are the better team, so that's what we're going to do. All right, then we got New England at Tennessee. Tennessee's getting 7.5 points. I don't know who's coaching this team at the moment. I'm taking the Patriots because Tennessee has been so bad. They might get a new coach bump this week, but I'm just going to assume that Tennessee is the team we've been watching so far, and it's going to take more than a week to get these guys prepared. New England is playing pretty good. They've beaten good teams. I did bet against them on the road in New Orleans last week, but I don't know. I think Tennessee is a league of their own in being incompetent, so we'll see. Again, this feels marginal to me. I don't think I would bet it if I wasn't forced to bet every single game against the spread. All right, moving on. We got New Orleans at Chicago. Chicago's laying 5.5 points. New Orleans is on the road. I'll be taking Chicago. I think they're playing pretty good right now. This is a lot of points to be laying for a team like Chicago. I don't think they're great, but I don't think teams like New Orleans travel well. If you're bad at, like, at home, you will be very bad on the road. That's all I have to say about that one. Moving on, we've got Miami plus 2.5 at Cleveland. Cleveland is a favorite, I think, for the first time this year. I don't know what to do with this. I'll be taking the points, I believe. What do I do here? This is a tough one. Miami is going to have a lot of trouble moving the ball against this Cleveland defense. But again, Cleveland's offense is pretty bad. I think I just have to take the points. This game could go either way. I'm just going to try to weight the odds in my favor by taking points here. Both these teams are bad. All right. Then we got Carolina at the Jets. The Jets are getting 1.5 at home. If this was a few weeks ago, I would still think that the Panthers are totally incompetent. The Jets have done nothing at all this year to convince me that they can win games. I'll just take Carolina. This game could go either way. This is kind of like the spot where you could imagine the Jets pulling off their first win. But generally, I tend to feel like I don't bet against strong trends like a team being 0-6. Like I'll take one on the chin and lose this bet if I have to, but I will bet on the team that has some wins here, not the Jets. And honestly, last week the Jets got their first turnover, and the player that got the ball he was holding the ball up like he'd done something amazing, like he couldn't believe that he had created a turnover, and I was like, this Jets team is pathetic. Like, you're getting your first turnover in week 5, and you're celebrating like you won the Super Bowl. Like, I couldn't believe it. I hate this Jets team. They are bums. All right, moving on. We got Philadelphia and Minnesota. Philadelphia is laying 2.5 points, and they have been playing not a great brand of football lately, but I think that Minnesota is the significantly worse team. I'll be taking Philly. Minnesota might be able to take advantage of Philly's defense at the moment. Philly's defense is kind of banged up, and their offense is not firing on all cylinders. But I think over the rest of the year, Philadelphia will very likely get their stuff together and start rolling. And if they don't, that's when you have to start being worried about this team. But, despite all of the protests and all of the, worry, Philly is 4-2. It's not the end of the world. They're, right in there with all the leaders in the NFL. So no one's undefeated at this point. So 4-2 is pretty good. All right. Moving on, we've got Las Vegas at Kansas City. Now, this is a game Kansas City is almost certain to win. Vegas is getting 11.5 points. Kansas City's, I don't know that they should be 11.5 point favorites over anybody. I know they beat the Lions, who are a much better team than Vegas by more than that last week. So, what do we do here? This is a divisional game. The Vegas, I think that Vegas has not looked very good this year. I want to click 11.5 because it's a divisional game. I think I will. I'll take Vegas here. I don't feel great about it, but 10-point spreads in a divisional game. And Kansas City has not really been blowing teams out. They've been looking pretty bad this year. I do not really, and by bad I mean bad for Kansas City. This is a team that has a lot of pedigree, so they could be beating teams by a lot, but they just haven't looked up to their usual standard this year. And generally speaking, in these divisional games, they tend to be tight, but I don't have the same level of confidence of the tightness of the divisional games when they are not in prime time. That's when I feel very confident. But this is a gamble. We're going to take the Vegas plus 11.5. Kind of hold our nose. I really do not like betting on this Vegas team very much. They have not inspired much faith. Hopefully Geno can avoid turning the ball over too many times. All right, moving forward. We got the Giants at Denver. Based on having to watch that London game, I'm just going to take the Giants. Giants are getting 6.5 points. Denver doesn't score that much. If the Giants can take care of the ball, not turn it over too much, I think 6.5 will be enough to keep them in the game. And the Giants could, upset Denver here. I mean, playing away at Denver is not ideal, but we'll see. I'm living and dying with this creatine Caucasians duo of Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart. I'm very excited by this. All right. We got Indianapolis plus 1.5 at the Chargers. I think here you have to take Indy plus the points. The Chargers being 4-2, they've looked pretty good at points in the season, but they're quite inconsistent. Indy hasn't beaten a lot of teams that I would call very good so far this year. Either way, I'm just going to take the points. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers won this one in this spot. But yeah, I am. I just think you have to take the Colts here. It's not like I don't feel super strongly about it, but we're taking the Colts. And this slate is looking very heavily towards the away side. I don't know if that means anything, but often not the way to do things. So we're taking Washington, so we got Washington and Dallas. Washington minus 2.5 at Dallas. I will be taking Washington on the road minus 2.5. Dallas has looked all over the place. I think Washington want to bounce back from that loss last week. And that's all there is to say about that. Don't really like the way Dallas has been playing. Losing to Carolina is just brutal. And I think this Dallas team is quite bad. I think that the books are slow to react with Dallas because they have so many fans. All right. We got Green Bay and Arizona. Arizona's getting 6.5 points at home. Now, I made the mistake last week of betting against Arizona, against a good team. They hung in there and fought. I think Green Bay is kind of reminding me of Kansas City last year, where they're supposed to be way better than all these teams they're playing. They get huge spreads, and then they don't cover them. They win the games, but they don't cover the spreads. So I'm going to be taking Arizona again. Betting against Green Bay has been working. To be fair, I would be betting on Green Bay to win, but I'm taking Arizona to cover. So maybe we're threading the needle there. All right, then we got Atlanta plus 2.5 at San Francisco. Again, I don't like this Atlanta team all that much. I bet against them last week, but they beat Buffalo. And the wheels have fallen off the San Francisco bus. We're taking Atlanta plus 2.5. Maybe that's crazy, but we'll see. All right, now we got Tampa Bay at Detroit. Detroit's laying 4.5 points at home. Both these teams have kind of issues. Tampa Bay's, a lot of their weapons are hurt. Detroit, their secondary is really banged up. So, I don't know. I've been betting on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay getting points in any game, I feel like that's kind of a steal. So I'm going to just take Tampa here. Then we got Houston visiting Seattle. Seattle's laying 3.5 points. I think that the way Seattle's defense is playing, that Stroud is going to be in the spin cycle in this game. Seattle will have to be safe with the ball, but the way I feel like Seattle's one of the best teams in the NFL. Again, always fade my Seattle picks. Maybe I'm getting too excited, but I'm taking Seattle at home minus 3.5, and that is my bet for the week. Or those are all my bets for the week. Let's put in a total here. We're going to put in 52 for the tiebreak total. So those are my picks for the week. That's everything in terms of my picks against the spread. And I would like to thank contributor D's Moobs for asking a question. I appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching. See you guys next week. Peace.